Today we're going to be bending wire into a continuous line and mounting it into a cube to try and create some type of continuous line sculpture. This was a very famous style of sculpture used by Alexander Calder in the 1950s and 1960s. He would make mobiles, stabiles, or even just some continuous line sculptures like we're going to make. So you're going to have to think about what can you do in one continuous line and then turn it into a sculpture. The supplies you'll need for your continuous line sculpture are your cube with your 2 holes, your wire, Sharpies, a pencil, and your 2 hands. Look at the reference sheet, and you'll see a picture of Alexander Calder. He would do continuous line wire sculptures of people's faces. They were really fun and playful, and they would work with this idea of once you start a line, you have to continue wherever it's going. Another person who liked to do that type of work was Picasso. Picasso would do hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of continuous line drawings for practice, and that's where we're going to start. Grab a blank piece of paper and one of your Sharpies, either the fine line, extra fine line, or the fine line marker. What we're going to do is we're going to practice by doing some continuous line drawings. I want you to go ahead and don't pick up your pen. So when you make your drawing, think about what you want to do. So if it is a bird like Picasso did, you can't pick up your pen. I want you to try and get smooth lines. And then, how are you going to continue this? Maybe you can do some loops. Get down to where the body might be. The beak. The rest of the head. There's your continuous line drawing. Maybe you want to try and practice on your own face or somebody that you know. How will you be able to move from the eyes to the nose to the mouth in one single line? I'll start on the edge. I can start with an ear. Come down. Maybe I'll go up to the lips at this point. Reverse. Might be time to do a bunch of hair. Now that I'm here, I can go ahead and do one of my eyes and the other one of my eyes. Hey, kind of looks like me. So go ahead, practice some continuous line drawings. When you know which one you want to form into a sculpture, go ahead, get out your wire and your cube and unwrap your wire. You have quite a bit of wire. I don't think that you'll need all of this wire. So start to give yourself the end and sculpt with your single wire. So I started with my wing. So I'm gonna try and make that wing and kind of see how much wire might I need. I can use my pencil to bend against and get a nice curve. I can also use my pencil for wrapping the wire around and around and around to get a spiral. I can put it close together. Maybe your single line sculpture will start to change. That looks like a pretty cool wing. If I need to make that stay, I can wrap it around this one spot. Now I'm going to start to build my body, and now I have to do the other wing. Try and play with the different ways that the wire can bend. Little bends, repeating that shape over and over into a sharp point, into a smooth, long, curving line. Now it looks like I've got part of my bird done. What will I do for my bird's head? How will I make it look really, really good? I could go around that beak, how I did this spiral, if I wanted to. I might come back to that in a little bit. So I'm gonna form my bird's head. And now I know about how much wire I want. I'll go ahead and cut off my wire to make it a little bit easier to work with. Now I can move my wire through one of the gaps and lock it into place. Your wire is going to want to be very fidgety, but that's okay. See how that's not staying? Maybe a little bit of a twist at that juncture could help it to stay. Now, I did say that I was going to come back in and get to the wing and the beak. So what would it look like if I squeezed my bird? Squeezed my bird that way. Too much. Maybe I should attach it part way. Keep in mind, I've got 2 holes that I need to get the wire to get into. 1 hole might work, but 2 holes will make it a little bit more solid. Now, can I get back up to the beak? If your wire gets a little out of control, you can always go back. You'll notice where I do overlapping bits, here and here, it starts to get heavier and more colorful there. Now I can go back, give my bird an eye. I can double up the wire in some places. Down and make a loop. Twisting it a little bit to keep that eye in place. And then maybe I can secure it there. And now I'm just about ready to put my bird into my base. So I only have one loop to put it into my base. And it looks like it wants to stand, but is a little bit too long, too tall. It wants to bend over. So I'll go ahead and I'll trim it down a little bit. If you wanted to, you could put your other wire, attach it as a base. To give it a little bit more strength. I'm going to put a little bit of glue right there. Right there on top of there. Oh, it's a little too much right there, but I'll clean it up afterwards. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to push it down into the base. So that one's too tall. One, two. And then I'm going to let my statue dry there. You can see all the different possibilities to get your statue to stay in one position.